So what's the biggest hiccup on why you haven't bought a car yet?
$929.99 a month.
How much you end up paying a month?
Welcome to the Audit Room, where we analyze real financial decisions from real people. We discuss what went wrong and then provide valuable feedback and insights that we can all learn from. Today's video is about auto loan debt, which, if you didn't know, in the United States alone accounts for over $1.69 trillion. To put that number in perspective, because it's so hard to conceptualize, if you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you a grand total of 4,657 years to spend all of that money. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the people that account for that $1.69 trillion worth of auto loan debt.
We bought a $40,000 car that we absolutely could not afford and had to trade it in 9 months later. In 2021, we walked into a car dealership in Kansas City and we walked off the lot with a 2021 Toyota Highlander that we absolutely could not afford. We had zero business buying that car, but yet somehow they still let us walk off the lot with it. We were making decent money and getting by at that time. I had a 1-year-old and I was pregnant with my second daughter and needed a mom car. No, I didn't. Newsflash. About 6 months after that, we moved to Montana and pretty much started over our entire lives. So we couldn't afford that payment anymore. We were paying $750 a month for this car. And to put that in perspective, our mortgage in Kansas City was $850. Everything was much more expensive up here and we weren't making the same income we were making in Kansas City at first. So we decided to just go ahead and trade it in. We took the hit and learned the lesson. Honestly, I don't regret getting out of that situation.
So I'm going to start this off by saying I don't understand what this obsession is with SUVs and crossovers. If I leave my house, the only thing I actually see on the road nowadays is trucks, SUVs, and crossovers. And everything is either gray, white, or black. And it's really just depressing. And it seems like everybody is pretty much driving the same vehicle because they all look the same pretty much. It's funny that she went and bought a Toyota Highlander SUV for her growing family, because I'm sure her last car was starting to feel cramped, so she needed more cargo space. Well, I just looked it up, and the Toyota Highlander actually has 84.3 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which is interesting because the Toyota Sienna minivan actually has 101 cubic feet of cargo capacity, which is just substantially more. Toyota Sienna is actually getting much better gas mileage, and it's just all around more practical. If you do have a growing family, a minivan actually might be a way more practical and better decision for the entire family. And the reason people don't buy a minivan is because there's a stigma around them. You're not cool when you drive a minivan, but as my family starts growing, I'm definitely going to be the dad rocking the minivan because I have no shame in practicality and straight up economy. Financing a brand new vehicle could potentially be the worst financial decision you could make in your life. I really hope it worked out for this lady. I can't really say whether it was a good decision or not to trade it in for a different vehicle because I don't know the numbers. But speaking from a financial perspective, new vehicles lose the most amount of money in the least amount of time. We've all heard the saying where you drive this vehicle off the lot and it loses like 20% of its value in the first time it leaves the lot. Well, that's true, and thankfully Toyotas are one of the vehicles that usually hold their value pretty well on the used market because they have a general reputation of being reliable vehicles. But if you ever find yourself in this position where you bought a new car and you realize you can't afford the payments, then it's probably best to just sell that car entirely and buy a used car for $10,000 or under, with the ceiling there really being $10,000. If you don't know that much about cars, there is plenty of mechanics that you can pay $100 and they will do a full inspection and they will literally find anything on that vehicle that would make it unreliable. And then we have access to the internet. There are used vehicles out there that, in my opinion, are more reliable than new vehicles. So if you're worried about vehicle reliability, being able to make it to work every day, and you think you need a new vehicle, go on the internet and do some research because there are some old vehicles that are extremely reliable. And even though I have made extremely good money in the past, I have always just driven old vehicles because financially, it just makes more sense to me. And I've also learned how to work on my own vehicles So that's the option that I take. If you do want to just buy a new vehicle and you have to have a new vehicle, invest into it for the long term, because really the only way you're going to get your money out of that, speaking from just a purely value perspective, is if you go ahead and buy that new vehicle and you drive it for the next 20 years. Now, let's be honest. Most people are not buying a new vehicle to drive it for the next 20 years. They're buying a new vehicle just because it's a status symbol and they want to just look cool in front of their friends. That is perfectly fine if you have the money to pay cash for a new vehicle and you can actually afford it without stressing out, then by all means, go buy that new vehicle. But if you have to finance a new vehicle at an 8% interest rate, let's be real. It's just not a good financial decision. Please, let's stop lying to ourselves and saying it's for reliability or for safety, because we can get reliability and safety for a fraction of the cost. With some people getting into life-altering amounts of debt over an auto loan, it makes me think, how hard are these salesmen pushing people to buy these cars and get into this crazy debt?
So what's the biggest hiccup on why you haven't bought a car yet? If you're looking at buying a car and you haven't bought it yet, what's the biggest reason you haven't bought it yet? Tell me in the comments, maybe I can help. And follow Ramsey Sells Cars.
This user commented $50K for a bare bones XL, extended cab truck, straight from a Ford build. Dealerships will add an extra 10 to 20% markup on that. $50K for a bare bones dinky V6 pickup. Now, I have to completely agree with this user. The markup that dealerships have, I think, is keeping a lot of financially literate people away from them, because look at what Tesla's doing. You buy straight from Tesla. There's no salesmen that are pressuring you, and there's no middleman where they have to mark up the cost of the vehicle in order to pay that middleman fee. Y'all want $45K for a mid-sized pickup and $85K for a full-sized. Does that answer the question? The reason America has $1.69 trillion worth of auto loan debt is an optics issue. The way that car salesmen have been able to finesse selling these cars. There's nobody out there that would pay $45,000 for a base model pickup. Instead, the salesman can get them, well, look at it this way. You're only paying $450 a month for the next 8 years of your life. And $450 a month, well, that sounds pretty manageable. I mean, most people spend, around that on groceries for a family of 4, so it's basically the same price as groceries. And that's just how people will justify this huge payment in their head, not adding it up with the interest rate and everything, and realize, wow, I have way overpaid for this vehicle.
$929.99 a month. $660 a month. $1,450 a month plus $350 a month for the roof. It's an all-metal roof. Not bad.
In what world does it actually make sense to be spending more monthly on your vehicle payments than your mortgage on your house? And I don't even need the specific numbers to tell that this was a bad decision. I know this was a bad decision because he didn't have the money on hand for a new roof. He had to finance that as well. And by the way, the video cut off early, but he's also paying another $250 for his camper. Now, what's crazy to me is this guy is spending almost $1,600 a month on his vehicle payments, and his brand new Chevrolet Duramax 2500 heavy duty truck is nearly $1,000 of that payment. And you'd have to ask yourself, well, maybe he is a truck driver because it says traveling trucker on his TikTok name. So maybe he's a truck driver and then he needs that brand new truck for his job. So it's actually an investment for his job, and that's what he uses to haul trailers and stuff. But no, you'd be wrong. It's just for fun. He just bought the truck to pull his camper for fun, just for recreation. And I don't know about you guys, but most people only go camping a couple times a year. So imagine spending over $1,200 a month for a truck and a camper just to be able to do something a couple times a year. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend on one specific hobby. And then I guess you could also argue like, well, the truck isn't just for camping. You can use it for all sorts of stuff. It's a it's a utility vehicle. I actually have a business where I need a heavy duty truck, and I actually bought a 25-year-old heavy duty 1-ton Chevy truck for a grand total of $8,000, and I paid cash for that, and I have not had a single issue with it, and it pulls all the heaviest trailers that a new truck would, just not as fast. But here's the thing, I don't need to go 100 miles an hour up a hill on an interstate. I can just do the speed limit, and I'm happy with that. It still gets the job done. We've got one last video to watch, but before we get to that, I want to say when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm actually doing a free money giveaway. So if you want the chance to win some free money, completely free, no strings attached, all you have to do is, number 1, subscribe to this channel. Number 2, leave a comment on this video or any other video, and then like a video. That's all you have to do, and you are automatically entered into the free money sweepstakes in order to win $150 completely free. Now let's get back to the actual video, and trust me, I saved the hardest to watch one for last. Let's go.
And how much you end up paying a month? How much you end up paying a month?
Too much.
What's too much?
Where we getting ready to take a picture at?
Right here.
Oh, by this car?
Yeah, by your new car. Came in for an oil change.
I know, right?
Now you left with more debt. But how much you pay a month?
Throw this tissue at you.
Yeah, how much you pay a month?
$520.
There you go.
What?
0 down. The goose egg.
Let's give some props to that salesman, because if you can sell someone on a brand new car that just came in for an oil change, you're a pretty slick or sleazy salesman. Now, the craziest thing ever to me is people will literally go in to buy a brand new car and then we'll put a total of $0 down towards the principal of that car. Now, in order to demonstrate how much of a difference putting a down payment down on an auto loan can make, I have ran 2 different scenarios through a calculator. That way you can see just the raw numbers. So in this first scenario, the car is $50,000. They're going to finance it for 60 months, a 10% interest rate, and they put $10,000 down at the start of the loan. Okay, their monthly payment is $850. Upfront payment, $10,000, just like we discussed. So they only need to borrow $40,000. So the total price, once they have completed the payments on the car and the car is completely paid off, the total cost is $60,992, almost $11,000 that's paid in interest rate alone. And as we can see the breakdown right here, 22% of the cost is the interest rate, and 78% of the cost is the principal, which is the money that's actually going towards the car. Now, in this next calculation, it's the exact same numbers, only they didn't put any money down, and this person needed to keep that $850 a month payment. So they're actually keeping the monthly payment the same, because in this scenario, this person can only afford $850 a month. So in order to meet that $850 a month requirement, we had to stretch this loan out to 81 months. Same price of the car, $50,000, same interest rate of 10%, but the down payment, if you notice, is $0. Now their total loan amount is $50,000 instead of $40,000. And as you can see, the total price after everything is said and done is $68,959. And if you can see the loan breakdown right here, actually almost $19,000 is going to the interest rate. Only 73% of this loan is principal. So 27% of every dollar you pay doesn't even go towards paying off the car. If you want to learn more about loans that you have currently or loans that you're thinking about getting, it's always a good idea to go online and just type in auto loan calculator or mortgage calculator and just play with the numbers in there. That way you can actually see what stuff is going to cost you, because interest rates can be extremely deceiving. With that being said, that's the end of this video. So if you enjoyed watching this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button. Do all the things that tells YouTube that this was a good video and you enjoyed watching it, so the algorithm can help me out. Thank you.